G.I. Joe, a real American hero. Today, we're going all over the movies based off the action figures that we all know and love from the 80s and the 90s. That's right, it's the money behind G.I. Joe, the film franchise. To get the G.I. Joe movie started, let's take a look at the very first one. Now don't worry if you've never heard of this one, simply titled G.I. Joe, the movie. This one was released all the way back in 1987. Now during the 1980s, the G.I. Joe craze was in full swing. And just like any other popular franchise, the execs thought, let's make a movie. Now this film definitely did have some big production companies behind it, including Hasbro, Marvel, Sunbow, and Toei Animation. However, Hasbro, Marvel, and Sunbow recently had two financial flops the previous year, being the Transformers movie and 1986's My Little Pony movie. Between these two films, it's reported that Hasbro lost over $10 million. Not wanting another money pit, they decided to play it safe and just release this film straight to home. Now, while no official budget's been released for the film, let's make an educated guess anyway by comparing it to the two other films that were produced the year before, being Transformers and My Little Pony. Both of these films had a production budget of roughly $5.5 million each, so we can estimate that G.I. Joe's price tag was pretty similar. But it is important to note that this is a cost of just the production, not the total cost of the film, which would have been much higher, possibly closer to the $10 million mark. Being released straight to home video, it's unknown how much Hasbro ended up making or losing from this production. Unfortunately, the lack of success did prevent the company from making another G.I. Joe movie for over 2 decades.
This is for Falcon! This is for me! This is for Duke! And this is for the U.S. Army!
2009's G.I. Joe The Rise of Cobra was Hasbro's next attempt to bring the iconic toy line to the big screen. No more animation this time around, just live action. Starring the likes of Channing Tatum and Marlon Wayans, this tells a story of our favorite G.I. Joe characters as they try to keep a set of nanotech warheads out of the hands of the evil Cobra. With a production budget of over $175 million, they definitely put a lot into this film, and the box office would agree and generate a gross of $302 million for the studios. Capitalizing off the success of this film, Hasbro does what Hasbro did best, and they made some toys, action figures, vehicles, the Pit Command base, and even things like comic books and video games were all made to help milk every possible dollar out of their investment. Seeing the popularity of the first film, 4 years later, Hasbro was going back at it again with G.I. Joe Retaliation. Some of the stars from the last film are back at it again with new faces like Dwayne Johnson and Bruce Willis to make an appearance. This film takes place shortly after the 2009 movie, and this time Cobra has impersonated the President of the United States and labeled the G.I. Joes as traitors and launched an attack on them. They're definitely down, but they are not out. The Joes fight back and help save the world once again. The budget for this film isn't exact, but we've seen estimates between $130 million and $155 million from quite a few sources. Hoping some of their new stars will help carry the film, it seems they spent less on this than the original, which actually worked out quite well as they were able to gross an impressive $375 million, which is roughly $73 million more than the first one. While audiences did go and see this film more, the reviews show that they weren't really the biggest fan. It scored only 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's not like the 2009 version did much better, because it only got 34%. Overall, these two films brought in an impressive $678 million with a budget of $305 million. I'd say they did quite well. Now, it's been almost 8 years, but G.I. Joe plans to break out on the big screen once again. This time with Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins. Everybody's favorite ninja gets to divulge his super secret backstory, and it only cost a little bit more than the production budget here at the Financial Fixation. While a budget hasn't been released yet for this film, we're going to estimate that it's at least $130 million, but we wouldn't be surprised if the price tag scrapes on that $180 mark. The G.I. Joe franchise also has another film set for a 2024 release titled G.I. Joe Ever Vigilant. So I'm sure that they're going to spend a little bit more on this Snake Eyes film in order to help build up that hype train for 2024. But I want to know from you, how much do you think that they're going to spend on the Snake Eyes film? And a better question is, are you planning to actually go and see it once it releases? Hopefully this one can turn out better than a certain superhero movie with origins in the title. Let me ask you, are you more of a fan of the new live action films, or do you prefer the 80s cartoons? Be sure to let us know with a comment down below. And while you're down there, be sure to smash that subscribe button for more content like this. Once again, for the Financial Fixation, I'm your host Dom, and I hope to see you in the next video.